spoilers for the first episode of Moon Knight. After months of waiting, TV spot after TV spot, trailer after trailer, we got the first episode of Moon Knight, and it is incredible. This show, by no doubt, seemed like it was going to be a bad show. This show felt like it was the perfect addition for Marvel right now, kind of exploring this new part of the world we haven't yet to see because we've been stuck in New York or parts of just America in and of itself. But this feels right. The show was so much fun. It had very, very good action, but it was also unpredictable in every single way. One thing that this show did very, very well in is showing the differences between Mark and Steven and how the persona switch is very obvious, but how when Steven's living in his own life, he can hear the other voices trying to get out, as almost as Steven is a roadblock for them trying to complete their own mission. I like that what's seen as dreams to Stevens is actually Mark's reality. And that because he's so tired all the time is that he is literally not getting sleep. He's always on these different missions and progress to further this goal. Khonshu looks amazing. One thing I liked about this is that the voice of Khonshu is heard. It's bellowing. It's godlike. It is just out front and center. It is a powerful voice, but that also he considers Steven a parasite, an idiot, and that Mark is like the chosen body for this because he's an able killer, and that Moon Knight is this sort of protector trying to complete this mission that he, Khonshu, has set out to possibly stop Arthur and the cult that he's leading. But the thing about him that I like most is that hearing his voice puts him in this real life situation where he's not just a figure that shows up, says nothing, and then gives Mark a cool power or whatever. He's actually present and applicable into Steven's life and how all these different things kind of flow around him. What I found very interesting is how Steven is unable to outrun the actions of Mark, that when he was waking up from that grass field after he jumped out of what looked like a small townhome into that other town where he ran into Arthur, it seemed that Steven is going to be followed by Mark's past. He's going to be unable to outrun it, where because he woke up in the middle of it, he's now slipped up. No matter what happened, Mark is related to Steven because it's the same guy to the world, but no one knows it's a different personality. Unlike Arthur, who calls him out for his different personalities and the chaos within him, the whole entire world only knows of the crimes that Mark committed because he got away with it. He had the burner phone stashed away. He has accepted the personality, where Steven is trying to figure out what's been going on. Why is he being followed? How did he wake up in the middle of that mission and try to figure out how to defend himself? I think the switches between Mark and Steven was fantastic, where it was almost like him just falling down and waking up as a whole new person, and that how he sprung into action to save a little scarab, which seems like a very, very important piece, which we saw in other clips. Arthur Harrow in the beginning was just seen as this normal guy, kind of just drinking the glass of water. But then when he cracked the glass, put all the remains in his shoe, and walking around with that in his feet all day has got to be painful. But I think there's with reason, since he is working as a judge, jury, and executioner for the god Ahmed. Maybe for him, since he is a human living on this earth, judging everybody else, that in and of itself is his own form of punishment. The cult that Arthur is leading seems to be a nationwide thing, where it seemed that the other followers were in that little small town, but maybe followed him to the museum, or that it is considered a nationwide thing, possibly worldwide, that Arthur is leading. One thing we knew about Arthur is that he was the bad guy, but we didn't know anything about what he was doing. One thing the show is very, very prominent and very, very great at is showing that this isn't just like a, oh, yada, yada, yada thing. It actually ties into mythology around Egypt. I find it interesting how Arthur was saying the goddess Ammit was a boogeyman of evildoers, and that he himself is a judge, jury, and executioner of man, and that he is judging their past, current, and future actions, which then determine if they live or die. It's a very radical thought, but it's very interesting to see this villain isn't just someone that wants world domination, but has a certain view. Now, the Moon Knight entrance. It was so interesting to see how Moon Knight was going to be introduced into this MCU. I thought the first episode was actually just addressing just Mark and Steven and Khonshu and how they're living in the same world, and how Arthur is this applying factor to what happens to Steven. But knowing that the Moon Knight persona was always among them, maybe because Mark had it originally and only can be summoned when it's Mark taking control of the body, is an interesting choice. One thing I'd like to see more of is actually the fight scene between the Jackal and Moon Knight, but knowing that little mystery and almost I was running away in fear, but then dragged back for Moon Knight's personal judgment is insane to see, because I never thought that that's actually how he would be introduced. But the shot where he turns around at the camera, fully Moon Knight, and walking away from it is the most coldest shot in the MCU. One thing I really liked about the show is that while Steven may be control of the body most of the time, the other personas and personalities have control of the consciousness. Like the scene where he's giving Arthur the scarab and Khonshu closes his fist and says, "You will give him nothing," turning his body around and walking away, but Steven not knowing what's going on, was an interesting choice to see. And I'm very curious on how the other personas are going to be affected by those not in full control. Like maybe Moon Knight's going to have an argument with Steven about the reason why he's doing what he is doing. And of course, the one Finn wonder, Gus the fish. The day before the premiere, Marvel posted a photo of Gus in the cup in the blender like Mark was showing at the pet shop, and everyone was thinking, oh, Mephisto? But no one really knows what's going on. Now knowing it is this cute little fish, it is so amazing to see that Mark had a little friend in life. But now knowing it has two fins near the end of the episode, what does this mean? Oscar Isaac was a complete gem in this show. The way he presented himself as Steven and then Mark, this guy has got full, complete range. I've liked his other works as well in Dune and Star Wars and many other projects he's been a part of, but this one feels like he's putting everything forward. The show of his panic side and his calm side and his tired side, but then also being this tough vigilante. It's just so perfect. Ethan Hawke as Arthur Harrow as well seems like a very, very fitting choice. And personally, I forgot how young he looked without a beard. He just is so fantastic. And the long hair kind of suits him. I'm very curious to see what happens next, to see where we go from here and see if there's any other missing pieces we get to see that fit into both Mark's world that Steven may have caused. And also that fourth episode, everyone's talking. I don't know who's in the show, but I definitely need to know. And I can't wait 3 weeks. This show is going to be a lot of fun.